Hey, it's Sydney, and today I don't really know how I'm gonna name this video because I just want to talk about a couple of things that have been sort of part of my experience recently and that I think could be valuable to just talk about. I'm sorry if I have a little bit of a lisp, it's because I have a wisdom tooth that's just bugging me, so I'm kind of half biting my cheek right now and there might be a bit of a lisp, hopefully not too much. Okay, and what it is I've been thinking about is sort of the question of how do you decide what's worth spending your time on? And really that's more of the question of how do you choose to live your life, because the time you spend is your life force basically, and obviously you want to be spending your time on something that you have an interest in, that you care about. You want to spend your time on things that you care about. And I was thinking about how this answer ends up being different for everyone. I mean, there's certain commonalities to all the things that people care about. But I was thinking about this also in the context of people who are exceptional at like one particular thing, like say an athlete would be particularly exceptional with one particular sport, or someone who is more of a generalist and who tries all kinds of different things. Because as I'm thinking about this question of how do you choose how to spend your time, I was also obviously thinking about it in the context of my own life and how as I was growing up I often chose to devote all of my attention towards developing my skills in art, like visual art, drawing and painting and things like that, at the expense of other interests that I had as a kid. Also thinking about what motivates those choices, because in some ways it was I cared so much about creating artwork and it was what I was most drawn to just naturally, so obviously I spent the most time on that. There was also aspects of choosing to spend more time on that where it was coming from a place of being fearful, because I was already, once you put in a certain amount of time on something more than anything else that you've done, then that thing starts to become better than all the other skills or things that you have going on. And so I would choose to continue putting effort into that because I'm already good and it's sort of that one thing that you're exceptional at, and so that gives you attention from other people and gives you a sense of security because you're exceptional at something and it feels like, oh yeah, I'm special. There's that sort of coming from not wanting to feel that discomfort of starting something new and not being good at it and then fumbling around and stuff like that. And then there's also like this sense of spending time on that because for whatever reason it felt like the most important thing. I was thinking about this as well in terms of efficiency. Like, what is the most efficient use of one's time? Like, last weekend I went ice skating for the first time with my brother, and even the choice to go ice skating was something, it's like not the most efficient use of time kind of thing. Like, even as it sort of came out of nowhere, right? I was like, oh, I really feel like I want to ice skate. I've never even been on freaking ice before, and we didn't go for a lesson. We just kind of like showed up at the rink, borrowed some skates, and then I just like fumbled around on the ice, like a slightly limping, like limping along, like and and I just felt like doing that, and I didn't know why, but it felt like I should do it. And then it was good. Like, I mean, I can't ice skate to save my life, but it gave me so much energy after that. And also in general, I've found for myself just an interest in moving, whereas in the past that has never been an interest of mine or something that I was naturally good at. Like, you know, there are a couple things that I've sort of been naturally good at in my life, and then there are things like dancing where it's like, I have 2 left feet, please do not. But for whatever reason, it's just interesting to me now and feels so good. And that's the second thing I was thinking about in terms of what is good use of your time. And there's things that make sense. There are the things that, based on what you're already good at, what you're already interested in, what you already care about, makes sense to continue to pursue, and sort of the logical, more efficient choices, the more efficient use of time, right? And then there are these things where you just get a weird inclination towards all of a sudden, or like an instinctual desire to do, like go ice skating one random weekend, and you don't, there's no, it doesn't make sense to do it, but it just feels right, and yeah, and then you do it, and it's like something happens out of it, whether it's immediately or down the road. And I was just thinking about all these different elements interacting, like the question of how do you use your time, and then in terms of using it efficiently, and also not just efficiently, but sticking to a particular road that you're sort of already going down, like persistence, basically. To be persistent with one particular thing, to keep at something beyond when someone else might choose to stop doing it or give up, and to become exceptional at it, and just grow and nurture a particular area and get through different challenges with that particular area. And then there's also these different unrelated choices of, like, you just get an instinctual urge to, I don't know, go do something, go spend time with a particular person, and it's like those choices don't make sense. So there's those two, and I was thinking about how those interact, and like even the question of, well, what is your time worth? Like, what is life worth, and how do you choose of all the different choices that you have? Like, if we were to choose ice cream, and I said there are 2 shops, one sells 3 flavors and one sells 50 flavors, and you're like, okay, I'll choose the one that sells 50 flavors because more choices. But then when you get to the ice cream shop with 50 flavors, then you have to choose out of 50 freaking flavors, and they're all good, and which is a sort of like higher level problem if you have the problem of like, there are too many choices, I could try and so many things and do so many things, but how do I pick? And of course there are different frameworks you can look at making choices from, but then I was also looking, well, beyond any kind of strategy, why do any of those different strategies matter anyway? Like, why bother creating something that matters, and why bother becoming really, really good at one particular thing, or why bother exploring all these other kinds of different things? And what came to me from that, as I was sort of just like not pondering on it, but just kind of like leaving it there at this very side of my mind. What came out from that was a sense of like the natural growth and unfoldment of things, and how there isn't any particular right answer, where you could become really, really good at one thing, or you could choose to try lots of different things, and you can make plans that feel good to you, or you can also have these instinctual ideas for what to do that don't fit in nicely with the sort of mental picture you've created of the perfect, most efficient road. It's like playing a game where, you know, you have a plan and you've min-maxed the whole thing, like you know the most efficient route towards winning the game. And then after that, the game throws in all these unexpected elements, or you just decide to do something that isn't particularly efficient halfway through just because it's fun. Yeah, and so I was just thinking about a sense of natural growth, and thinking about how, okay, when you're a kid, before you get any sense of like how you should do things, how do our interests unfold? So I was thinking about, okay, as a kid, I'm just going around playing, right? Trying different things. And even when you get older, when you don't feel any pressure with something, like how people will then get into particular different interests when it comes to entertainment. And it just sort of starts off as, oh, maybe I'll try this thing, and you try it, and then maybe you don't like it so you don't do it again, or maybe you do like it and you do it some more. And then as you get more and more interested, you start to just find out more and more about a thing, until before you know it, you start knowing all this minutiae about something, and just accidentally become really well versed with something just because you were interested, and you just kept allowing that interest to grow without the pressure of what is this getting me, or is this worth my time or not, and you were just sort of allowing it to unfold and not worrying about whether or not you're doing enough or too much or whatever. It just sort of grew the way that it grew for you particularly. So that's what I wanted to talk about. I didn't know if I wanted to do this particular video, but I feel like it's important somehow, so I'm just gonna do it. And like, there's no particular direction, and I don't have a particular set of points that I just laid out, or a piece of advice or a meaningful conclusion. It's just kind of like, these are some things that have been showing up for me, and maybe it'll be interesting and helpful for you too, and hopefully I didn't like lisp too much during this video. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I've been thinking about. How do we choose what constitutes a meaningful existence and use of time? And I don't have an answer to that. I was just sort of exploring it myself, and I feel like at the very least it's something that is way less serious than it's made out to be. Like, it doesn't have to be as serious as it's made out to be. The question itself sounds so serious, like how are you living your life in a meaningful way? But at the same time, it's like, it's meant to grow, I feel. It's meant to grow and have this mixture of persistence and exploration, and you explore, but you also stay with things and allow them to grow and be nourished. And I don't know, yeah, so that's what this is about, and that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed that, please give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave me a comment, and you can tell me what kinds of things you would like to see future videos be about, if you just would like me to ramble on more or have particular topics that you're interested in. That could be cool. I don't know. Let me know. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I will leave various links about for your clickies, and that's all. Bye-bye. And to answer the question that nobody asked, this right here is a horse bite. Okay, so